Welcome to Stormwatch by Grey Noise Intelligence. Each week, we cover the latest info on what's happening at Grey Noise, Censys, and VulnCheck. Take a look at a roundup of important and timely cybersecurity topics, toss out some expert opinions, and drop the occasional conspiracy theory. This week, you, our fabulous listener community, have delivered once again, and we take a look at your most pressing cyber concerns as we enter the final fray of this holiday season. The crew then gets a bit frosty, but not like the venerable snowman, as we take a brief tour of the fun cyber media had at the expense of Krispy Kreme's security holes. We finally have our Censys team members back to give us a readout of their epic 2024 State of the Internet report, and then we clip-clop our way into the not-so-holly-jolly Clio data theft attacks. Of course, we check in on all the latest happenings at each of our respective benefactors, and time permitting, take a pop and see what has been up in Kevland these days. But with that, we're gonna turn towards my wonderful co-host and get some nice, soothing beginning of the new year music, because this is our final episode for this year of 2024.
Beginning of the new year. Can we finish this one?
Can we get out? Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want the new year to come faster or if I want to get rid of this one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, since we're not going to have a show
complete, we have 4% of the year left.
It's not much.
A lot can happen. A lot can happen.
Don't wish that evil upon us, Bob.
Don't threaten us.
I want nothing to happen. Preferably not one thing.
Okay. So since we're not going to meet next week, we may sneak in an AI episode next week. And we're not meeting right at the beginning of the year. We're not going to be able to have a New Year's one. So I was hoping to ask each of you if you could tell me one either fun joke or serious 20, even if you don't normally make 20 New Year's resolutions. I'm not really a New Year's resolution person either, but we all go in with the new year looking for something maybe different, new, fun, whatever. So can you give one resolution that you're going to make and try to stick to in 2025? And we have to let Glenn go last because he needs to steal from everybody else's to give his answer. As usual, closing out the year just like we entered the year. Great job, Glenn. So I'm going to pick Himija first this time. Himija, you will look very festive today.
Thank you. Love my glowy headlamp.
It is we all chose blinking things, which is odd.
Not all of us.
Wow, Glenn.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. I am. Wow.
We've got factions here.
Okay. Man. All right. Wow. I'm glad he's going last. Himija, what resolution have you come up with for 2025?
So glad you asked, Bob. My goal is to try and buy 75% of my basically anything I need, like clothing, furniture, all that stuff, secondhand. Because I think it's just better for the earth, and also I have a lot more opportunities to do it in New York City. So I'm challenging myself to try and forage more in the wild for things.
That's pretty cool.
I love calling it foraging. Modern day foraging. And
it really is.
You are
capitalist foraging. It's capitalist foraging. Yeah, I like it.
No, because I once bought a pair of OG Doc Martens in Brooklyn, and those things have lasted me 10 years now. So, yep, foraging.
Does it count as foraging
like that,
if you're in New York City, though?
Yeah.
Some of that secondhand in New York City feels like it could be legit. That's a pretty good place to do it.
I like it.
Mother Earth,
yeah, I appreciate that
for your service.
This is great. We are starting off the resolution year strong already. Kimber, apart from probably wanting heat in the new year as well, what resolution do you have for the new year?
Cold. Just am really struggling with the cold. My resolution for 2025, career goals are probably the easiest for me. Just really enjoy a good career goal. So I kind of got off of doing conference talks. And I had this rant last week about the conference talks becoming vendorified. But I think that I would really like to do a good research talk this year about something that I am passionate about. That would bring me a lot of joy. I'm feeling a lot of need to create in 2025 rather than like consume. Done a lot of consumption in 2024, whether that is absolute garbage like Instagram Reels, or just like reading a bunch of research on the internet about like other people's research and stuff. It's been thinking about that a lot lately, of just like, what can I contribute, what can I create.
I like it. So you're going to be we're going to have more knowledge drops from Kimber in 2025. That's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Theoretically.
Kimber's Content Corner.
Oh, I love that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Emily, you are looking very festive today. You're just not blinking. It's okay. No one needs to blink. It's actually, blinking can be very traumatic actually too. So like it's probably good that not all of us are.
Forest. I'm just gonna say that. It's fine.
Okay.
Christmas tree farm.
Sure.
Okay.
With a singular Christmas tree.
Certainly not the Grinch.
Oh no, that wasn't the intent. Oh no.
Oh,
Definitely.
The Grinch is misunderstood.
Sure.
the Grinch is the epic hero of everything. But anyway, we are off topic. So do you have, I know you were reticent to actually do a resolution, so I appreciate the fact that you did put time into it. What have you come up with for us?
Yeah. So yeah, I think I have feelings and thoughts about resolutions as like goal setting, but that's a different conversation. So this year I actually think I want to be more cognizant of saying no to things. And saying yes to the things that I need to say yes to, both personally and professionally, which will mean saying no to more things.
If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Yeah, that's I heard that for the first time when I actually came to Censys, and I was like, oh, that checks out. I feel that. So yeah, every year I feel like I've gotten a little better at it, but like I'd like to continue down that, being very protective of my time.
Wow, that's
Fully
a really
support
good
that.
choice, though.
And you know what they say? Saying no to one thing means saying yes to a bunch of other things.
There you go.
I have a feeling this is her way of saying she's not going to say yes to being on the podcast next year, but I hope not.
Wait, what? Do we have to like renew our contracts or something?
No, but
You have
like
a
if you're
contract?
going to say no, to things.
This isn't going to be one of the things I'll say no to.
Okay. Phew. Okay, that's good. So Glenn, did you get inspiration from everybody else to come up with yours now?
Yeah, I guess since you're my boss, this is not a great place to manifest a promotion. So I think mine's more of a continuation. So I've done a lot to improve my health and strength in 24, and I just want to keep that going. Just keep the good vibes going. There's a long way to go, so it's not a stretch, but I'd say if I could just keep on doing what I've been doing, I'll probably be okay.
Cool. And you actually have done a really great job this year with health stuff, so that's great, doubling down on that.
Been a journey, but yes, thank you.
It's awesome. Overwatch, do you have one? So Ashley started Pilates around 6 months ago, and 25 goals to continue that and get strong, coordinated enough to do the advanced classes. Very cool. So Ashley's the cartwheel of us, right? That's what we were saying yesterday. Ashley's the cartwheel. This is great. So so at this time next year, on cam, cartwheel. Okay, Overwatch, we got it. That's the promise.
Those advanced Pilates classes are no joke. The girlies who do those, non-gendered girlies, just killer, absolutely killer. Good goal.
Super quick story, because I too, unrelated or unknowingly, started Pilates. I've been absolutely loving it.
How did you unwillingly start unknowingly on whatever start Pilates?
Sorry, I meant unknowingly.
You had to deliberately do it.
Yeah, I didn't stumble onto a reformer. I just meant unknowingly that Ashley and I, Overwatch and I, started basically about the same time. But was going through a class, was struggling, was like, well, at first I was like, this is new stuff, this is fun, and then it was struggle bus, and it's like, wow, okay, this guy had a bad day or whatever. And then with 10 minutes left in the class, he's like, I'm really sorry. I thought this was the mid class and I'm in the beginner. And so I'm happy I didn't die. So, just
God.
happy little accident, I guess. So I'm going to actually try maybe an advanced one next Monday. So not advanced, mid.
We have an opportunity now, and because we will have 2 offsites for Great Noise this year, one in the fall or late fall or early fall.
No.
So I think we have a Pilates off or a Pilates challenge between you and Overwatch live on Stormwatch.
Pilates is not competitive.
No.
Oh,
or pretty. But man, it's fun. I don't know. It's fun.
Ooh, that actually can't make anything competitive. This is true. Yeah, I like this. All right, we're doing it.
I have no competitiveness in my body, so.
Dang. Mine is to regimen more. I tend to be. This will be a shocker to everybody. I tend to be a bit flighty. No, I tend to be a bit flighty. I tend to flutter to shiny things, and I'm going to try to not flutter to as many shiny things as I do now.
At work or at home?
Yes.
I believe in you, Bob.
Or is it heck yes? Do I have to say heck yes? Because it's either heck yes or heck no. So.
Right. What's the motivation for that?
Well, one is so I can actually, despite even if long COVID hits, if I can use that as an excuse to not even do a light workout, but if I regiment it, I can't really use it as an excuse to not even do a light workout. So that's one thing. Being a bit better about pre-prepping for food, so there's more predictable dinners versus whatever I feel like making that day, and then trying to figure out how to scramble to do it. And then at work, we finally have a lot of really great data that I no longer need to scrounge to find good data to do fun things. And so, and Glenn is a really good taskmaster with do this with data. So I'm just going to listen to him more and just do what he says.
I was about to say, does this mean I can't just distract you when you ask me something I don't want to answer with a...
That may be the only regimen that I do then, is if you tell me what to do for the data that we're going to do. So
still waiting for baseline internet observations.
Well, if we have time to get to something at the end of this, you may have something I may have some data you want to do as a project this coming year. So it's pretty cool. All right, so we are going to get into this. We're going to stop the terrible music if it's not already stopped. It's good. All right, so we're going to do this. We're going to add the stage. We have a podcast. We say this every week. We're going to have better headshots next year. This is going to be cool. I can't wait to get an actual non-28-year-old me headshot.
What?
At least I'm gonna have a new headshot up there. It would be great. And if you could scroll down to here and put your little name or address, whatever thingy in here,
your little name,
whatever. It'll make Overwatch's day, because we
can put your social in there too while you're at it.
Put your cutest email.
Yeah, make it up. It's great.
Your oldest email.
One reason why we want that is because y'all are amazing out there, all the listeners, supporters, friends of the pod. And so Jordan did it again. Thank you, Jordan. Epic pollster. And it's not easy to do those polls. I know it's you type things into bullets in the fields, but there's go to 3 different sites, 3 different ways of doing it. You have to actually tolerate going on LinkedIn. Ugh, we can do that. So it's great. And she suffers it so that we don't have to. And then I have our AI overlords summarize everything for us. So what was your top concern for cybersecurity during the holiday season? The majority of you either said end of year tech fatigue was the top concern, or increased phishing scams followed closely. And I want to pull back to the crew, because the crew had some words about this yesterday. You had some observations about folks in particular platforms with particular bents. I'm just curious if you might want to talk about that, Emily.
Yeah, so across the 3 platforms, I think it's X, LinkedIn, and Mastodon where this gets posted. X and Mastodon were similar in terms of their breakdown, but LinkedIn was the one where end of year fatigue was not the top. It was something else. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Jokingly, the hustle culture is still alive and well on LinkedIn. No one wants to admit to fatigue, but we're all secretly oh my God, I'm dying. I don't know. I just thought seeing the differences between the platforms is kind of interesting. Very unscientific, but still sort of interesting.
Yeah, it was super fascinating, because I know LinkedIn is really different culturally than Blue Sky. It's a lot of the same people in a lot of ways. But
Just wearing a different outfit. Like
yeah,
in one they've got a blazer, and the other they're like wearing a sweatshirt and feeling very cool and comfortable.
yeah, exactly.
I think also that on Twitter excuse me, X and Blue Sky, it's more acknowledged that views shared there are not necessarily views of the employer, whereas on LinkedIn you represent your employer more or your whatever endeavor you're doing more, and so I think that could play into the responses as well.
Oh, if that really is a thing, I am so sorry, Ashley. I did it for LinkedIn. I'm sorry, Ashley. Glenn, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, mine was more so I agree, shockingly. But one thing that I noticed was on one of the comments got me thinking, and it was about talking about like how the change freeze is basically like disruptions to service because of end of year change freezes, like kind of in that vein. And that's something that is like kind of a shout out to the folks that have to deal with that. But end of year, especially in retail or commerce industries, they do obviously a change freeze in November, December, because it's their most money moving time of the year, and so they can't have that risk. And so that is a risk-based decision, that is a choice. Um, and that is a really, really tough thing for organizations to work through from a security perspective. And it's been probably a couple of years since I've thought about that, and so that kind of triggered some of those old memories for when we like providing managed services and like pleading with folks to take care of a vuln that pops out on, like, I mean, think of Log4j that popped out in what, November, December, and that was change freeze time. Like
December
that
9th.
was, oop. So that was extraordinarily, like, even as bad as it was, but it was even harder because of change freezes, right? So that's kind of what came to mind beyond what was already shared, was just like, oh yeah, pour one out for those folks that are also dealing with change freezes, with extra time off, end of year shenanigans.
So
December
Todd
6th was when the patch came out. Sorry.
yeah, but the 9th was the anniversary that we all didn't celebrate last week because no one did anything bad.
Why would you celebrate?
When was the
It
last
drove
time
it
you
drove
felt so united against one thing?
It's
yeah,
true.
and it raised awareness. It raised awareness of the need to patch,
Yeah,
Over.
exactly.
and it works so well because there haven't been any ransomware attacks or anything like that since then. I do not want to know what LinkedIn Lunatics is, but I will put it out there so people can go
It's just
see that.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
The I don't so while I haven't received any holiday themed or this time of year themed phishing, I'm really glad phishing was number 2. I don't know if anyone else, I'm doing this more to raise awareness than anything else and trying to do a segue to it, but um I've gotten on 3 different mail services, like not just Gmail. The DocuSign spam has gotten through a bunch of major providers, and it looks like they're actually taking over domains of people that have valid SPF and DKIM and using that as a means of shunting this through. But even with that, like, did every email security vendor thingy just turn off all their heuristics and ML to, because these are obviously not good things, and I don't know how that these automated systems are being bypassed so easily.
I've had that. I've also had, this is just like, this is not scientific, just my experience. Super increase of like PayPal requests for money, which is interesting, and which are like legit from PayPal. So like someone's account is compromised, and so like the email is legit. It's just the origin. And the other thing is, apparently I have a lot of McAfee subscriptions that I really need to pay based on the PDFs that I keep getting.
Yeah, I mean, Emily, I do have a background in email security, like, and you might be scoffing at my, like, naive, not, I mean, I'm not really naive, but it just seems like it's just people are just bypassing stuff too easily these days.
I mean, it's always cat and mouse, though, right? Like, no matter what, you're always trying to just sort of stay one step ahead. And if you build in a protection or a detection for one thing, someone's going to change the thing. And I haven't looked at those things specifically, like the ones that you're mentioning. But I have noticed an uptick as well. And I do think it's just, valid domains sending email that's been, the accounts have been taken over. I mean, that's a great thing to do, or to weaponize an email service provider because they have great sending reputation. So they're going to go to your inbox.
Based on Lou's comment earlier about pizza rat, can we change cat and mouse to pizza and rat?
Sure.
Oh wait, no, pizza
I like
doesn't
it.
change to rat. But either way, you guys.
The pizza could attack. It could definitely attack. So
I was gonna say pizza is a pretty stationary object, but I that's what I was wondering when I first like. I haven't heard of DKIM takeovers. Maybe I'm just uneducated. I don't know. Haven't heard of it yet, but it would be more likely for there to be account compromise, I think.
yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
For everybody else out there that could pass on potential resolutions to your IT teams in 2025, for every host and subdomain you have out there, maybe have the SPF record set to I don't send mail from this ever. Don't trust mail from this domain, and that'd be great if you could do that. Because things are bad out there. All right, we're gonna segue, well, not really well, into the next one. This is a segment Glenn wanted. I'm just gonna put this out there. Glenn really wanted this segment. So could you set up this segment for us, Glenn?
I own it. I own that claim. So last week, it was last week. Krispy Kreme had a little bit of they announced an incident that I think is still going on. There's really not a lot of details about it, except they had.
So it's still baking.
It's still baking. It's still in the oven. Buns are still in the oven. And I think I first learned about this from like the 8K or whatever. But basically, it's like it'll probably have a material impact to our finances, whatever. But in a little bit of a plot twist that was welcomed, and maybe it's just because back to the fatigue that was mentioned earlier in the polls, the headline writers had a great time with this, and I really appreciated.
And not just in the cyber media, like in actual media. They had there was some pent up demand for humor and puns and everything.
I think this got more pub because of the opportunity for jokes than actually anyone cares that the online ordering system for Krispy Kreme was down.
All right. So if you can, I will let you read them as I cycle through them, if that's okay.
Krispy Kreme donut delivery gets cooked in cyber attack. Dark reading.
So that's from Dark Reading. I was hoping to gauge from both like the crew and the peanut gallery, like how creative was this one, or how good, like how much did you appreciate this one?
Do you cook donuts? What is
I thought they were fried.
Technically, yeah. Isn't that not quite well?
Do you cook cooking chicken that's fried?
I mean, you have to mix ingredients. You got to put things together. You have to. It's cooking.
They're not baked, really.
They can be.
Yeah.
But
this is perhaps too pedantic for this headline. I think we should keep rolling.
So, but it sounds like we're all like kind of like Dark Reading needs work. Is pretty much what I'm getting the vibe.
You know what?
I'm sorry. I don't think we can put this up, but the comment from Todd just sent me.
Oh, I gotta see this one.
Yeah, you can't put that up.
We don't condone that, but yeah, there are many things you can cook in many different forms on many different.
This is a family show. We cannot put instructions for making drugs on this.
This is why you join live, folks.
Yeah, so you can get Todd's comments.
You could easily switch cooked with fried in this headline.
Yes,
it's fried. But I think really what I feel about this is that clearly Krispy Kreme needs our support more than ever in this trying time as a public industry. So,
all right, we're gonna go to the next one.
Donuts.
See what you guys like.
Krispy Kreme Donut Corporation admits to hole insecurity.
This one makes me uncomfortable.
I think they phoned this one in. This is a phoned in thing. Sorry.
I've seen this one in a couple places, not just the
register.
So I feel like
a lot of these got picked up and rinsed and repeated. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Extremely uncomfortable headline. Please switch to the next.
All right, we'll go next one. Financial Times. I can't believe the Financial Times went all kitschy on us.
Those are beautiful donuts.
Those are also definitely not Krispy Kreme donuts.
No, they are not.
It's not. They're random. All these are random donuts from Unsplash.
Someone has never been to Krispy Kreme.
Financial Times, they're definitely getting much classier donuts than a Krispy Kreme. Krispy
A
Kreme is
kiwi
people's
on a
donuts.
donut? That's terrible. Fruit and donut. Fruit goes in the donut as a jam.
Yeah.
Hard, strong opinion.
Wow, we have rules about donuts now, apparently. Okay.
Oh, I have lots of donut rules actually.
They should have
Alright, so
replaced hackers with criminals also.
Yeah, hackers aren't bad.
Strongly disagree that this was a hack. This was more of
Make
a
hackers. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. All right, so far we're not thrilled with any of these.
The Guardian.
Ooh.
Dollars from donuts. Krispy Kreme online orders disrupted in cyber attack.
I like this one.
Oh, you do?
Really? Also, these
dollars from donuts. It just didn't like. It wasn't ransomware. I don't think. Well, or do we know? I don't.
Wait, it was no.
I don't think. We
What
know.
actually was the attack? Do
Yeah.
any of us
We don't
even
know.
know?
We don't know.
I think we just heard Krispy Kreme hack and we were all in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Unauthorized activity on a portion of its information technology systems.
Yeah, it's ransomware. It's definitely ransomware then.
We don't know that. That's speculation.
Can somebody from Krispy Kreme
Yeah, you know what?
comment?
We-
Krispy Kreme cybersecurity.
And the occasional conspiracy theory, Glenn. And the occasional conspiracy theory, Glenn. And the occasional conspiracy.
Okay, fair enough. Also, if Krispy Kreme wants to send a swag package, I will totally wear that.
Yeah.
Just saying. I can be bought.
Again, this is the third time in like 3 weeks he's begged for.
Is that
clothing
a
or-
Laura Midson?
Yeah,
How
it's
are
all,
you
yeah.
in?
I threw together some animations for this. These aren't the real sites. I just threw together some.
Okay,
stuff.
wait, look. Okay,
Oh.
now I want to see that.
Oh, I see in the address bar. This is a lot of effort to put into a bit, Bob.
Sleep.
Have you
doesn't-
met
With the
Bob?
tab title "Holy Moly."
I actually like this one because being from Scranton, $2 donuts was a big thing. Like that's everybody every day. It's just it happens. So like
What
I
is that?
appreciated this one.
This place?
$1 to donuts? No, it's a
Podcast, I think.
saying. It's a saying.
Mm.
It's a regional saying. So I appreciated this. And how the Guardian knew about a regional thing like that is pretty cool.
I think in Texas we say, "Where's the beef?" Maybe that's the same. Just kidding.
All right,
I
we're
also
gonna go
like
next
how
one.
the donuts are like black and white and they look like they're in jail a little bit.
Jail donuts. These actually look like Krispy Kreme donuts.
All right, Glenn,
Yeah.
let's do it.
How Krispy Kreme's cybersecurity went stale.
Wah, wah, wah.
Which
Yeah, phoned
donuts
in
do go
again.
stale
Sorry.
real fast. No, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I consider myself a connoisseur of the donut, and they do go stale in about 3 hours. So
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
And
if we were
before we
walked in and got one,
we're halfway through. We're going to speed through that, but I want to. You guys
Oh.
posited something earlier that I want to talk about. Go ahead. All right, let's keep it
security
going.
hole, cyber attack hits Krispy Kreme, disrupting online orders. So back
Eh.
to the whole joke.
Yeah,
Really
MSM. It figures
don't-
MSM. Blah. Ugh, it's terrible.
Not the sepia.
I know. I was like, that's a touch.
Cyber attack hits Krispy Kreme as hackers find hole in online ordering system. A lot of hole
Yeah,
jokes.
BBC a
Don't
bit
like
too
it.
factual, and just going the easy route, taking the word hole. Not great. Not great.
No donuts today.
This
Cyber
is
attack
perfect.
stops Krispy Kreme. Very aesthetic too.
Perfect
I'm
headline.
actually
Perfect image.
and
Looks
it's
delicious.
cyber attacks news. At least there's no you know what you're getting when you go to that site. So it's kind of cool.
I just
too.
really appreciate an extremely factual headline. No
Hold
donuts today.
And it's Seinfeld-esque, which clearly I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Glazed and confused. Krispy Kreme battles cyber attack. Now
This was AI
Solution
generated.
security buzz.
100%.
Oh, I was
The
on
headline.
board with the Glazed jokes.
Oh
The
yeah.
headline.
AI
think so?
generated headline.
Wow.
Yeah. This has ChatGPT cadence all over it.
If
Also, is that a
anybody
Panera?
from
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like
is
a Panera. Yeah. Okay. I sent a query to Unsplash for donuts, and I just took the first 10 things.
Oh,
they gave me.
these aren't their pictures?
No, I just threw this whole site together just to have fun last night because I couldn't sleep.
okay.
So
But these are their headlines, right?
they are their headlines. Yes. Yeah,
What is
'cause-
real
'cause-
anymore?
Anyway, so before we get to the 10th one, you all had a really good question. And this is for like the peanut gallery and everybody out there, even afterwards. Is Krispy Kreme critical infrastructure?
Hmm. Did someone
Yeah.
say it was?
No, but that's such a great segue for what we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
Look at that. How about that?
Hackers take a bite out of Krispy Kreme.
Financial
What's that to do with
Times.
critical infrastructure?
This one doesn't. What I just said about critical
Oh.
infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
Pay attention, Glenn. Just keep up. It's good.
Now
So
I'm a
I don't know
donut.
about all you, but I was not impressed with any of them. I really wasn't impressed with any.
I liked Glazed.
All right.
All
Did
right.
it, fam. We
Uh,
made it.
we made it through. We are going to
Thanks
keep
for coming
this
along
thing
to
up.
this journey with me. Apparently, I'm the only one that
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, the only one that really appreciated the lack of creativity and lack of humor in the editorial boards. Okay, so we finally have our census crew back. It's been 2 weeks. It feels like forever. I'm glad you guys came back for the last show of the year, and we finally get to talk about this report that you did like over a month ago now, which I can't believe that's how long it's been. It's been crazy. The 2024 State of the Internet report. We teased it, we briefly mentioned it, and then you all decided that you weren't going to show up to the show 2 weeks in a row. And then, so I'm going to scroll down to something you're eventually going to talk at. But if you, Emily and or Heminger, would like to tell a tale of ICS protocol exposure, please go.
Yeah, so we can, it has been, yeah, I can't believe it's been a month since this has been out. This is not really as sweet of a topic as the last one, but for the better part of like a year, our team has really studied kind of the attack surface of industrial control systems on the internet. It's actually started around this time last year, actually, with the Water Authority in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, having an attack on one of their HMIs or human machine interfaces. So we started really digging in around then. And over this year, have just sort of kind of sunk our teeth in and tried to understand, what is the actual state of exposure? What does it look like? And one thing that I think we really wanted to kind of dig into in this report is a lot of times when you see research about, ICS on the internet, you see just quantification of protocols, how much Modbus, how much BACnet, et cetera, is on the internet, which we've done that here too. Like this is actually, if you're watching, you can see on the screen and there's a tree map of some of these protocols. But that's not really the only part of the story, right? And the other part of the report is focused on these HMIs or human machine interfaces, because these kind of represent what we think is sort of a different vector of attack. While historically we've seen attacks on ICS, I think there's 9, maybe 10 now, with some recent research from Clarity, known ICS specific malware strains. Like these are really rare. They're very time intensive and resource intensive to develop, but they're very catastrophic in nature, right? You think of Stuxnet, you think of Indestroyer, like those are things that affect these pieces of hardware and machinery, and are arguably like a little bit more difficult to pull off in terms of exploitation or attacking. But with HMIs, what we've seen over the last year, again, kind of thinking about that Iranian affiliated hacktivist group who went after particular devices, one of which was in Aliquippa. Then we saw some small cities in Texas have their water facilities, HMIs manipulated. And we've seen a string of these things happen over this year, right? These aren't, I don't want to paint the picture that these are as catastrophic as some of the larger ICS specific attacks. If someone's able to access these devices, they're able to, change chemical values or pump values or turn off things or start things or, acknowledge alarms and turn those off. They're able to interact with the equipment if you know the IP address and the port of the HMI, because so often they don't have any kind of authentication on them. They're not, segmented on the network. They're not behind a VPN. They're just sort of hanging out on the internet. And so while it might not be as catastrophic of an attack to have someone come and manipulate these types of things, it is still, I would say, arguably, like there's maybe a higher likelihood if you are, in an operational technology environment, like these probably shouldn't be on the internet. And I think that's really what we wanted to kind of paint the picture of. Like, I think this report you can kind of think of as like, ICS and OT sort of 101, like what does the landscape look like? There's a whole lot more that we know, that we're learning, that we're, kind of trying to paint the picture around, but this is sort of a good base level of here's the way we see the world right now when it comes to industrial control systems and operational technology.
One thing I've been curious about, and I think we've said this, I think we've touched on this a couple times throughout the past year, and we are not going to talk about the CISA water thing report. We're not talking about that today because I just can't do that to Emily. But I was a little disappointed in there that there weren't some more advanced recommendations. And one question I have, like, specific, I can do this specifically for you two. Um, is there any work at all in the ICS space to try to get WireGuard as part of these device configurations so that there's never a need to have anything exposed to the internet directly and they can just do everything seamlessly and pretty coolly over WireGuard? Have you heard of anything like that at all?
So I'm actually not aware of any efforts around that. That's super interesting idea. And I guess for context, the kind of the report and the recommendations you're referencing came out, I want to say, last week. I think on Friday there was an advisory published or a recommendations published around protecting HMIs with some pretty standard guidance, right? Like MFA, network segmentation, those types of things. But
Yeah, and remember,
no,
everybody, remember, attackers do not use domestic VPNs, so you can geofence and protect yourselves. You can do that because hackers don't do that.
geofencing was a recommendation in there that was a little strange to me. I haven't seen that recommended in a very long time. Or in this context, that was very odd. But no, I'm not personally aware of any efforts around WireGuard. I'm curious if anyone else here knows of anything like that in this space.
I would be
I,
shocked
I,
if it was happening.
it just feels like that would be such a long tail that
I think that's
Yeah.
why the recommendations are so basic, probably, is that that's where they're at. I hate to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I think is these departments don't really get very much funding for extras like cybersecurity, unfortunately, is an extra, even though there are like certain regulations to follow and stuff. So you've got to make a set of requirements that a contractor company can come in and do in a 6-month contract or a year contract. And converting everything to WireGuard would be that. I mean, that's like a maintenance. Like you need to have somebody on your IT staff who can figure that out. Not that it's like super complicated, but like it also kind of is.
In this
but
context, I think there is complication to it because we're dealing with folks who are, struggling to not use default passwords or things that are just like super
Yeah.
that we
I
think
was
of
gonna
as
say,
really straightforward.
like, let's not get too jaded in the fact of like it kind of reminds me, like it's still something, all right? Like it would still help deter or deflect some attacks. I mean, even based on the data that we see at Gray Noise, there, we look at source and destination, and there's still, yeah, a lot of it can be inter-country, a lot of it is country to country or whatever, but while it's not going to save all of your bacon, it might save some of your bacon. So, and it's also such a low lift to do something like that. So, like, it's a valid recommendation. I think maybe what we're saying is it's just like, is that all that we can do at this point? Is that the limitation, or is it that we're more surprised that it's 2025 and we're talking about geo fencing?
I actually really like the geofencing idea. Mostly because if you took that to the extreme and you said that only IP
ACO.
addresses from this ASN are able to
Mhm.
connect. Like, in order to complete the full handshake, like you wouldn't be able to spoof those IP addresses. So,
But then you're getting into just allow listing. Like at
right.
that point, right? Like that's just which
So is
I
it the
don't.
word geo? Are you more upset about or more surprised by geo, or are you more surprised by using an ACL, a control list?
Yeah, no, for me, it's definitely more the
The
geofencing
geo.
specific recommendation. I was like, that's an interesting, like, sure, allow listing, like some kind of access controls absolutely need to be in place, but that was just kind of an interesting
Because
specific recommendation that I haven't thought about or heard of in a very long time.
sometimes, and I take this from my teacher days, sometimes there are things that you tell people to do if only they will realize something. And I feel like that geofencing is almost one of those things like, hey, friends, you do realize that this is part of like interactions with foreign things that are bad. Like, there are bad things happening out there in other countries. Like, those things you see on the news like affect you. So I wonder if it's one of those recommendations, or we view it as kind of an immature, like as an industry, we're viewing it as like an immature recommendation. But I don't know. I think geofencing is kind of funny and interesting.
I'm assuming it's a
The
data-driven recommendation, so
Why
they
would you
may have
assume that?
because I want to.
he has hope. He has hope.
Okay.
He's
You see pew pews from all those China
That map.
IPs. The
So
map.
like,
Map.
I mean,
I
if
see.
I were running an organization, I would have implemented geofencing for traffic. Like,
But would you not have also done other? I mean, this is in
yeah,
concert with other
yeah, I'm not
things.
gonna be like
Yeah.
Part of
Russia
my
bad and then move on and spend no money, right? Like,
I at
well,
least put an allow list in so that the hacker has to do the work of running the scan and seeing what IP addresses they can
yeah,
do some access from, so that they can specifically target those IP addresses when they're doing some real hacking.
you're going to have to do a couple hops,
Yeah.
kangaroo routing.
the one thing that so just to get wonkish about it, so for geofencing requires threat intelligence of some kind, and there's a ton, like there's a proliferation. It's just gotten out of control. There are so many services out there that claim to do IP to country AS whatever that's out there. They all do it with varying quality, and I don't know of any org that tests that quality except maybe mine and maybe Censys. I haven't asked you guys if you do it. I know we test. I don't know of any real org. I mean, because we just do it because we have a service we provide. But if you don't test that, and if you don't use a reputable source and you don't keep it updated, geofencing is kind of useless.
Well,
Good point.
we could get real deep about perspective of the internet, because truly geolocation only matters but depending upon your perspective. So yes, Census does take a look at it, and there is a field in their data that says what perspective they're looking
Yep.
from.
Bob
The
has a
one
good point though. Like
Yeah.
IPs don't tell you their location. You have to. It's a third party, so
You have to.
that does introduce yet another layer of trust and
But it's like, you know that you're not going to want anybody from Belarus to log in to your water control system in New Jersey.
But the problem with that is, like, so I won't say Belarus, but, like, I have seen ASNs that are in foreign countries switch a day, and they're suddenly out of Reston, Virginia, and then the next day they're back, and it's the same exact one, but they deliberately do that to be from the US that day.
That's
So
kind
it
of where
is
I'm
like
going with this. Is like
yeah,
I just
exactly.
don't think like like if you start to dig deep enough, the underlying principles on which you're relying sort of crumble because geolocation, all of this is sort of made up and none
so
of it matters
compromise the
anyway.
geolocation data provider to make it look like you're from the US, and then just go full wild.
But at that point, you're an extremely advanced actor.
And you're probably not going to be doing this. You're going to be doing something else.
You're going to be doing something else. So you can at least cut out the script kiddies and the people who are just simply getting lucky by doing.
Well, also the security on these things are so bad. You don't have to do anything. You can just hit it on the internet and hit like discharge or something.
So the one so either if anyone else has questions, go for it. But I have one more question, because apart from today when like I was mean to Sissa, I'm not normally mean to Sissa, and because we are usually like big huge fans of Sissa because they do great work. And are there any other because like we don't often talk about other agencies because like a lot of agencies in the government are completely ineffective. I mean, I do need to take a shout out because I think Glenn has one too. The whoever's in charge of passports now, they do phenomenal jobs at renewals. They are
Oh
just
my
amazing.
gosh.
They're just
Yeah.
so cool. Like shout
2
out to
weeks.
all you that are doing that. Like seriously, you guys are great. But are there any other? Do you have any agencies that you may have worked with? Maybe not for the report, but around ICS or whatever that are doing really good work in this space, so that folks can know that like the government is here and to help them because we don't often say nice things about the government.
Yeah. So we've when we really first started looking in this, one of the things we wanted to do was, okay, we found this. We want to tell the owner about it. We want to help them take it offline. We want them to know that this exists and this is probably a problem. But unfortunately, notifications from us don't work super well because folks think it's phishing or spam, or they're understandably sort of suspicious about this. Hey, you have a thing on the internet, kind of contact. And so after sort of shopping around and trying to find folks to help, we found that the EPA has actually, as far as like drinking water systems go, they've actually done a really great job and have been great partners in terms of like actually wanting to get these things offline. I can't really talk about details of it right now, but I will say like it's restored my faith in the fact that there are people who really want to do the right thing and want to kind of help move us all collectively toward a safer, more secure kind of infrastructure. And so that's been huge. Yeah.
That's really great to
I
hear
love
that there's that someone care like they care enough to go reach out, and I guess they have the contacts everywhere, so it does make sense for them to be a good conduit for those things. That's awesome.
I love clean I love clean water. So I'm happy to know
Big
that the
fan.
people in charge of clean
Wow.
water actually take action, and that's our tax dollars. So success. We should end the show right here on a good note.
Yeah, and I won't bring us down with a comment about clean water. So we are going to segue from one Christmas tree map to another Christmas tree map. Look at that segues. Kimber, you have three things from your organization, your benevolent overlords. What is this first one? This looks like it may be for. I didn't scroll up. Is this from Patrick? It is.
Yes,
Yes, it's from Patrick. Yes, I knew
I'm
that. That's cool.
Patrick. You know what? I'm going to admit that I was violently unprepared for the amount of content that we have put out.
It's
So
crazy. It's crazy. You got this in two of the 101s. Like you guys are just cranking. It's great.
I know. So I'm going to assume a lot about this article right now, which is that this is the November 2024 recap of our initial access intelligence and breaking down the products that we saw exploits in, the vantage point of us seeing known exploited vulnerability, which ones went to weaponized, and where those public exploits are available. That Netgear one. Fun.
I think my biggest takeaway from this tree map is that Alibaba missed a perfect opportunity to call their OS nachos instead of
I know.
Knock OS.
Right?
Yeah, they've been great.
Yeah. So
They would have got adoption too, so it's been great.
I will say
We have
Patrick
another
does
one.
post
Yeah.
these Patrick posts these recaps monthly, and I think they're really good for just kind of surveying the state of exploitation.
Yeah, it's just getting crazier, and I'm not looking forward to whatever's going to happen in 2025 with this. You have, I want to, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about these two, if I could, or just your whole exploit intelligence one, because I've gone through all of your exploit intelligence 101 so far, and just for everyone out there that may be new to the industry or think you're a veteran and think you know it all, but maybe have little gaps because things evolve and change. I have found
Mhm.
these to be a really well crafted set of, hey, this is how this works. This is what this is. These are the basics and fundamentals of this. No like color. No, you're not doing vendor schmoo. Like, this is all great core information. I think it's on par with the cybersecurity body of knowledge. I think you guys are doing a great job with these series. So this one for active C2 servers, and this one that explains the CVSS system. I think this is just great material that even if you've been doing this for a long time, maybe take one day your break even and an hour and just kind of go through them just to refresh, because I think it's pretty good information out there.
Yeah, it's all supposed to be very current, very just straightforward, informational. No, it's basically a resource that we can pass to anybody who looks at something in VulnCheck and is like, I don't understand this fully, and read from there.
Cool. And so we could end now, but I want to give a holiday present to anyone out there that wants it. We saw, as we have mentioned numerous times, and even recently numerous times, we have our new global observation grid, because that's what we're calling it. It sounds pretty cool. I like global observation grid. And one thing that has popped up is a persistent. So Iran has topped the charts. This is highly unusual for us. It's not unusual if they're doing it from a spooch traffic perspective, but it is unusual to see legit full TCP handshakes doing actual real scans
This
or
is
throwing
Bob's
attack.
Noise Storm. This is Noise Storm Bob edition.
Yeah, well, it's my little. It's a white whale that I've had, and the one really neat. So we've been capturing this, and I'm going to scroll. This requires you to look at it. So for folks that are just listening, you should go look at the video on this one if you want it. I showed this to a couple people already, and I'm just scrolling down all the IP addresses we've seen over a 7-day period ending on Saturday, and I'm going to keep scrolling, and you're going to start to see patterns emerge that are indicative of DHCP re-ups across swaths of IP addresses in days. And I'm just going to, it scrolls and scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. So I'm going to go faster for everybody that's out there. And it just keeps doing this. And you can reorganize the data that's out there. So I am offering this data set and I'll throw you the observable notebook if you want it as well too, for anyone else that wants to go do some research on this, because my conspiracy theory view of this from the things that I have looked at so far is we have caught a malicious actor. I am not going to say that they're actually an Iranian attacker, because anyone can co-opt anything these days. That has basically taken over a bunch of Android devices, whether they're mobile phones or whether they're set-top boxes. And we're seeing the DHCP re-ups of those things every day, and they are scanning on a number of ports that you might expect. And our team is taking a look at it as well too, but I wanted to offer this up just like we did for the Noise Storm data. If you want to go dig into what this pattern looks like to see if you can flush out some of those things, just hit us up, research at graynoise.io, and we'll be glad to hook you up with the data.
The
And
growing
this is
mobile
something that I thought you might like. This is something I thought you might like, Kimber, because it's not just Iran, but I'm just focusing on that because we don't have a lot of time to talk about things. So,
well, Kimber is pleased with this development.
If anyone needs a Christmas project to distract from maybe the fam
your
or
relatives.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have critical cyber attack research to do from Iran attacks from Iranian devices.
The one that I got deeply sucked into the last 2 weeks was there is definitely some Mirai variant out there that's got me hooked, got me deep.
Very cool.
Yeah. Everybody needs a rabbit hole.
Yeah. This is my latest white whale, and it's a fun one, especially with our new data. We have lots of really great new data. So before we close this out, anybody have since we're not going to see each other for the next couple of weeks, any plans? You just going to chill for the thank you, Glenn. Do we have any plans for the next couple of weeks? You're just chilling, hanging with fam, traveling?
I got nothing.
Going for very long walks in the wilderness.
Sounds nice.
Of New York, like Central Park?
That's what I was gonna say.
Concrete jungle.
Big Apple. Yeah, just hoping for very low-key, chilled, no travel, no. Really, I want as little of anything as possible. Is what I'm going for.
Wow.
I hope to think not a single thought.
I'm going for hibernation.
Oh no!
I love it.
I
I
do not
love
know
it.
why. I have no idea why Frank did that, but I'm just gonna upset Bob. Upset. It's cool. All right then. Well, it was great having the whole gang back together again. It's always fun when we're all together. And with that, that's all the holes in our security coverage for today, folks. Remember to keep your defenses fresh and your patches hot like a dozen original glazed. From all of us at Stormwatch, may your firewall stay strong and your endpoint stay sweeter than a box of donuts in 2025. Until next time, don't let the cyberbugs bite, and here's to a vulnerability-free new year. Be safe out there, everybody.